Howdy y'all, Jeremy again from Archeryshack. Got us a Mathews S2 to restring, so let's get going. Got us a nice red and black string to put on it. Looks like this is probably the original factory string. They added a string stop. May have to add a little serve in there because that's not a factory deal. But that's quite all right. Hope y'all are doing good as you watch this. This will actually be one of the easier bows that we deal with because A, it's a single cam, B, it's got a whisker biscuit, so just super easy. On this particular bow, this cam has two dots that you line up to get the cam, make sure the cam is rotated correctly. So usually I just line up an arrow with those two dots and boom, you don't have to worry about timing two cams with a single cam bow. Set this over here out of the way. Give everything a good check. Idler feels great, no wobble, spins freely. Cam's the same way. So let's just check out the rollers here. Nothing crazy. Looks like we're ready to restring it. So let's start with a cable. Get it. I think I've said it in other videos, but if you ever get a bow and forget how to route stuff, the bus cable or the split cable always goes closest to the arrow. And the reason for that is the bus cable is what loads up with a ton of poundage as you draw it back. It's what gives you your let off when it goes over the hump on the cam. It has 250 pounds roughly of tension at full draw. It's according to the bow and the draw weight. There's 100 things, but just roughly. The string itself, and if this was a hybrid cam, the string and the control cable, they don't hardly have anything on them. I mean, they're just a few pounds on them. If you ever don't derail somebody's bow, but if somebody's at full draw, have them hold it for a second and feel the string. There's literally almost no tension, like 10-15 pounds of tension, something like that. So anyway, you put the bus cable closest to the arrow because it's got to get out of the way of the arrow with a roller or a cable rod. And the further it is out, the more it's putting torque on the limb. So you want to avoid that as much as possible. I think we've got 3 or 4 bows in here. We got bows laying everywhere, but 3 or 4 of them are actually from people that seen us on YouTube and said, hey, we want to send you our bow, so we appreciate y'all. Some of them, I had one guy, he was like, if I send it, will you put it on YouTube? And I was like, sure. I try to put as much on YouTube as I can, but we get a little bit behind this time of the year. It's right before hunting season, and so it's kind of hard to do them all, but we do what we can. I did remember seeing this string stop when we made this string. We made this string out of BCY X99. We make them in-house. I'll have to make a video on the whole process, but I noticed it on there when he dropped it off, so I guessed it where it was at. So I've got some clear serving over the string stop. I'm glad I had caught that, and don't have to do it after the fact. I thought I had laid a peep sight here, but I guess I didn't. Let me grab him a peep sight and I'll be right back. Okie dokie. Go ahead and stick the peep in. In our area, we see probably, it's almost 50-50 of people that shoot whisker biscuits versus dropaways. I would say maybe in the last year or two, it's more like 60% drop away, 40% biscuit, but I don't know if that's typical for the whole country or just around here. I don't have a problem with either one. So let me show you this real quick. I'm gonna take an arrow shaft or an arrow or whatever. I'm gonna grab something random, and there's 2 timing dots on this cam. So I'm gonna line this arrow up with them and make sure I'm parallel to the string, and that'll tell me that my, looks like I might need to add like 1 or 2 twists to the bus cable and bring it around just a hair more. That kind of lets me know that how my timing is on this single cam. But anyway, I don't have a problem with a biscuit or a drop away. I think drop aways are probably becoming more popular, but when Carolina Archery Products started or made the biscuit originally, I hate to admit it, but I'm always skeptical at first. I remember back then I was telling people, I was like, I don't know, this thing touches the arrow and don't get out of the way, and it don't have spring tension, because back then, up until what, mid 2000s, you know, a TM hunter rest was sort of the norm, and the bow doodle and all that type of stuff, where the arrow rode the launcher. If I can get my finger in here, I can get this back on. The arrow rode the launcher down through there, and you adjusted the spring tension to get it to tune right and all that type of stuff. So here comes this thing with a big brush rest looking thing, but what was crazy, so we order a few. I don't remember what year this would have been. It had to be early 2000s. We ordered like 6 of them, and I mean, people were going crazy about them. And the funny thing was, the first biscuits, if you'll remember, they didn't have the slot cut out for the easy load. So we would take like big wire cutters and cut out a slot ourselves, and then recrimp the end so the bristles didn't fall out, so that you could load it real quick. Well, I guess a lot of people started doing that, because a year or two later, you know, they started making them to where you can load them from the side. But anyway, much to my surprise at the time, if you put a biscuit on and leveled it and center shot it, it would bullet hole. And I was like, how is this possible? We've been fooling with spring tension for years and years, and it worked. So I went from a skeptic to a believer, and then the biscuits have been here to stay, and they sold out the Trophy Ridge and all that, so I'm sure somebody got a lot of money. Let's walk over here to the vise and we'll continue the setup of this bow. Okie dokie. I see one thing I'm going to fix right out of the gate, and that is the rest is cocked forward and the side of it's not level. So let me fix that real quick. If I can find the right wrench. I have a heck of a mess, but we're just right in the middle of busy season and doing what we can do. Okay. Got that good and snug. That's got everything back level and good. So now, let's take our levels, stick one on the arrow. I always just stick one on the shelf there, and then one on the string. Looking good. Everything, I just eyeballed it and everything's level. So we got a biscuit. I'm not going to tie my little inner knots. I'm just going to straight loop it with a red loop. So we'll get our loop here, get it burnt. We'll line his peak back up, tie it in, and then check our idler lean and paper tune it. Single cam bows don't get much easier. I just wish, you know, for what, 15 years they were huge, and then I think they just kind of hit a wall as far as speed goes, and a lot of people went to some sort of binary system or a hybrid system to get more speed. Get this thing tied in here. But yeah, so Whisker Biscuit was fairly local to us. I'll tell you, there was a company, I don't know if y'all remember it, but stick a stabilizer back on here. It was called Tiger Tough. They made air rest. And I think what made them so popular was they had custom mounts to each brand. So like the Mathews mount would match the bow back then, and it fit the riser perfect and all that. And they were out of Greenville, South Carolina, which is about 40 minutes north of here. And they were huge for years. And then I guess once the drop away craze and all that kind of hit, I don't think they kept up that well. And if I remember right, they sold out to somebody in Florida, I think, if I remember right. And then I never heard much about them again. I've still got some parts for them laying around. We got our loop going here. Get it tied. Get it snugged up. You don't normally see me use these pliers here, but since we don't have our knot ties and all that, I'm going to just gently snug it up. I don't want to dig it into the center serving. That's what I see a lot of people do. So let's line up his old string right here. Get his peep height set. Almost there where we are. And we'll get it tied in. I noticed on his old string, let's see if I can show you, he's only got it tied around the peak. I don't really like that. I don't think it'll fly out like that, but it wouldn't take anything to push it or hit it on the tree limb, pulling your bow up or whatever, and it would slide, and then you'd never know it, and you'd make a shot, you know, and usually whichever way you move the peep is where your arrow hits. So if you slide it up, it'll hit high, move it down, it'll hit low. But anyway, so I always tie above and below it, unless somebody specifically tells me I don't want that, but that's almost never. get it tied above and below. We'll check his idler over there at the drawboard and then fire it through the paper and chronograph it. It don't get much easier than these. I definitely would say out of all the bows that come in, we see the most Mathews floating around as far as older bows. You know what I mean? All the way back into the 90s to the Feather Light, Feather Max, Ultra Max. We still see some of those come through. And we do, I mean, we see a lot of like PSEs, but I'm just talking about older model bows. It seems like there's more Mathews still in circulation than anything. I remember 10, 15 years ago, we'd have a lot of bear bows come in, older bear bows, the old, really a big bunch of Pearsons, a bunch of older name bows. So once I tied this in and compressed this against the peep, it turned to the right a little bit. So what I'll do is when I put my, if I have to twist to fix the idler lean, I'll go ahead and put a twist in the string and get this back straight. And it should be set. Perfect. So let's meet over at the drawboard. Here we are at the drawboard. Get our scale turned on. Get everything hooked up. I got a little safety rope I hook on here. I've never had this scale like give me any trouble, but I just like to be extra safe. Get this. Oop, I'm stepping on the thing. It looks like we're right on our poundage. Now I'm gonna check our idler lean. On the right side of the idler, the laser's hitting the outside of the limb. On the left side of the idler, we may not have to adjust this thing. That would be good, wouldn't it? We'll give it a quick eyeball. I think we're pretty much straight where we sit. So I'm gonna go twist the, I'm gonna go give the peep a twist, and then we'll go paper tune it. Beautiful. Let me bring the camera around so you can see. Looking pretty sharp. So let's see what kind of speed we get out of it. A 365 grain arrow, 28-inch draw, right on 70 pounds. Let's see what she does. 280. That's not bad. 280. This is not a speed bow by no means, so that's about where I figured it would be. Mathews S2. Got it tuned up for a customer. I want to thank y'all for watching. And as always, give us a call if we can help in any way. 864-735-8484. And let us know what other kind of videos you'd like to see. I kind of get bored of these same old putting the strings on videos. What else? What other kind of stuff would you like to see? Let us know in the comments, and we'll do our best to make some different stuff. So I hope y'all have a good day, and I'll see you soon.